Okay, go ahead. Good evening and welcome to the President-Principal meeting at the end of our school year for the 2019-20 school year, 2020 school year. It gets so confusing, 2020. Anyway, we welcome you. We're glad to see all of our parents and supporters, anybody that's on the call. We're happy that you're here with us tonight. This is going to be a very brief meeting. We said that it was going to be from 6:30 to 8:30, but it's actually 6:30 to 7:30. We want to respect the Navajo Nation curfew, and so we will be done by 7:30. There will be, the format tonight is I'm going to give you some updates about the school, and then Ms. Yazzie will share some information with you, and then we're going to have an opportunity to answer questions that anybody is, they're just typing them into the chat, correct? Renee's behind the camera, so she's going to help say your questions out loud so we can answer them. So if you have a question that we haven't answered, I'd ask you to wait just a minute because I think we're trying to answer a lot of the questions that we've been getting from email. And so wait just a minute and then type in questions if we haven't answered something. If we don't get to every question, we will make sure that we send out an email answering additional questions to our parents this week. So I want to begin with a reading, and those of you who haven't read this book before, it's a great book. It's from Cordella, I'm hoping I'm not destroying her name, Frances Biddle. She's the niece of St. Catherine Drexel, and she wrote a wonderful book about the life of St. Catherine. If you haven't read it, it's a wonderful read, and it really does help you have some insight to St. Catherine and her family. And at the end of one of the chapters, her niece is really describing St. Catherine's experience as she was opening St. Michael's Indian School. And at the end of the chapter that she's describing, I just wanted to read to you the last paragraph because I thought it was really poignant for the times that we're in. Despite the hardships, Catherine and her teachers persevered. They learned to accommodate lessons with the particularities of Navajo life, closing school so that the children could be home to help during the all-important lambing season. Half of each day was given over to studying geography, science, mathematics, music, drawing, and singing. Half to industrial training, the boys learning animal husbandry, shoemaking, and carpentry, and the girls home economics, sewing, and weaving. The sisters hired an expert Navajo weaver to help the girls learn the subtleties of craft. The blankets they produced were a critical part of each family's income. On her annual visit, nearly a year after St. Michael's opened, Catherine wrote that she, and I quote, looked up in wonder at God's wonderful ways and thought how little we imagine what can be the result of listening and acting on a desire He, meaning God, puts into our hearts. That's really going to be our theme this year. Ms. Yazzie and I talked about it, and really listening and acting on what God puts in our hearts during these times. It's really been a wonderful direction for us all. And so in the month of May, we honor Mary. So let's begin with a Hail Mary. Father, Son. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. So I want to start with just some notes that I've taken along the way. So just from questions that are coming out to parents and things that are happening with the school, things that I know that you all are curious about. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what we do know. And so I really put this in what we know for sure for the 2021 school year, and then what we're still working on, and then just some announcements and some information. So this will be very quick. So a couple of things that we know for sure is that next year our lunch and breakfast program will be free to parents. I know this has been really important, and I know we've been working on it for several years, so a lot of the parents are going to be super, I hope, happy to learn that you're not going to be billed for breakfast and lunch beginning next school year any longer. The new tuition schedule is going to be in effect, and we're going to require that any child registered for the 2021 school year has applied for financial aid. Every and any child. And y'all, if this was never more important, it is now, because there are families that may have been affected by this COVID-19 virus that, you know, lost their jobs or have been laid off. And in any other circumstance, tuition would have not been a problem for them, but now it is. And if that family would apply for financial aid, then we can help them because we have emergency funding for those families, even if they don't qualify. So really, in the times that we're in, we're going to insist that our families apply for financial aid. Whether they receive it or not is not the issue. The issue for us is we can help you. If you don't need it right now, you may need it, and we can help you down the road. For sure, we know we will have smaller class sizes next year. So we'll have very limited enrollment. And this is important for parents to listen to because I know that registration hasn't opened yet, but it will open early next week. And as soon as we open registration, it's going to be important for you to register your child because there will be wait lists on every class. We're only going to accept 12 children in our preschool, 16 children in our kindergarten, and 20 in grades 1 through 5. We're going to only accept 15 in each class for 6th grade, so 30, correct, in the 6th grade, and then 40 in grades 7, 8, 9, 10, and junior year. We will not accept any new seniors unless there is some very extenuating circumstances. So our senior class is pretty much full and will be locked unless there's some major circumstance that Ms. Yazzie and I deem that, yes, this child should be admitted to our school. Right now, our staffing is stable, and just so you know, we were able to keep our whole staff employed and paid over this whole entire time. And so we are fine. The school's financially fine. We were able to secure the PPP funding that is available for small businesses. And so we've been trying to keep the school running, keep it open, and keep it viable. And so you all know that through the packets and through the secretarial staff and the lunch program that has been going on. Our summer projects are in full swing. The gym, the bleachers on the other side of the gym are in. Many of you, if you've driven by the school at all, you've seen that we do have the new fencing around the soccer field now, and the guys just started today putting up the new preschool playground that has been sitting on our lot for the last few months. Other projects that we're looking at is new restrooms in Red Lane on the 2nd floor, because as we look at how we're going to do the school year, and Ms. Yazzie will talk to you a little bit about it, but kids will be separated by learning groups, and they will be in bigger classrooms and will be spread out. So we, because of that change, we're going to utilize the 2nd floor of Red Lane much more. And with that, we're going to build a new girls and boys bathroom in Red Lane. So the children will have access to another restroom. And we've had a lot of questions about 8th grade mass graduation and the growing ceremonies. Right now, we have it on the schedule for the week of July, where graduation would, I'm going to work backwards. Graduation would be on Saturday the 18th. Baccalaureate Mass will be on July 16th. We're looking at the 8th grade Mass being on either the 14th or the 15th. We haven't committed yet. And the growing ceremony will be on either the 13th, 14th, or 15th. I think it's the 14th, 15th, or 17th. So we're looking at it. So what we're doing is we're setting up a stage. It will be immediate family only, and we're looking at what are the possibilities and what are the crowd size, what it might be by the time we get to July, and how we can handle this. And so as soon as we have all the details, we'll get that out to parents, and we'll make sure that you all know exactly what's going to happen. The other thing we know for sure is all of our children in grades 3 through 12 will have a laptop this year. We are working at getting those laptops right now, getting the program for all of our students. And so they will have laptops. And those families who qualify for free and reduced lunch will also, if needed, they will get a hotspot. So the laptop will come with a hotspot, so when the child is using it at home, they will be able to access the internet. This does not mean that we think we're going to be completely virtual e-learning this year. I want all of our parents to rest assured that we're doing everything we can to get the kids back at school. We know how important it is for children to be in school. We're doing everything we can to put up guards and make the school safer for our kids, and to spread out classrooms and to make sure that they can have a safe experience at school. And so we're doing everything in our power to do that, but we do think we'll probably have a combination of e-learning and school, depending on the guidelines that we continue to get from the CCD, from the Navajo Nation, and from the state of Arizona. So we're working with all groups and making sure that we do things right. What we're still working on is we're working on schedules. We haven't figured that out completely yet. We're working on what is going to be the first day of school. That maybe we're thinking it's going to be September 1st. But Miss Yazzie's going to get up and close the window because you all know our school dog, Dee Dee. She's obviously seeing something out there, and so she might be getting louder than I am. But anyway, we're looking at, right now we've redone the calendar for our first day of school to be September 1st. We're looking at August as being in time for summer school because we know that for sure that some of our kids are going to need some remediation, and Miss Yazzie will talk to you more about that. What we're still working on is teacher placement. We don't know right now. Classrooms are going to be divided into smaller learning groups, so we don't know for sure which teacher is going to be with which group of kids, and so we'll be working with you and letting you know that as we know it. I don't know about athletics. I'm hearing all kinds of things about athletics. I'm hearing there will be athletic competition this year. I'm hearing there won't be any fall sports, but there will be winter and spring sports. They're not planning on making up fall sports at this point because of the travel leagues and the other athletic teams that the kids play on. So that's what we're hearing. As soon as we know for sure, we'll let you know. We are planning to do summer school. Whether it's going to be virtual or be live is still to be determined based on what the Navajo Nation and what guidelines we're allowed to follow. And I've had a lot of questions about summer camps. We're looking at summer camps. We're looking at virtual summer camps, and we're looking at ways to keep your children engaged during the summer. So more research is required. Nothing can be live until August. We know that, and so we'll have to look. In essence, you all, we have a cross-functional team planning and assessing every move of this. We implemented this team a few weeks before the school ever closed because we could see things were getting real and we knew something might happen. So we all got together, a large part of our staff, and I've been consulting with them and working with them along the way. And this is really why we were able to come right out of the gate with the Mills program. That's why we were able to come right out of the gate with a learning program for your students to still be learning at home. And we want to continue that. So we know our job is to get your child, we're a college prep school, this is what we do. And our job is to get your child prepared for that next level of education, whether it's from preschool to first grade, kindergarten, or from early school to elementary, to middle school, to high school. We're working hard to make sure that your child can move through their education and get to college. And we're committed to that. The health and safety of our staff and the children is our number one concern. It was our number one concern meeting as a team. It was our number one concern as we meet daily. Ms. Yazzie and I talk to each other every day, several times a day. And every plan that we make has to do with the safety of your child and how we can help them return to school and keep everybody safe and keep everybody on the same page. And I know that Ms. Yazzie is going to speak more about that, but you'll notice things when you visit our campus in the future. You'll see doors not as easy to get through, guards up on your way through the door. You'll see a lot of plexiglass that's going in everywhere. You're going to see a lot of precautions being made. We all have masks. I have one right here. All of our team is wearing masks. On campus, we're social distancing when we are on campus, but we're all here working hard and trying to help make sure the school's ready to welcome your child back for the 2021 school year. Announcements. I want to announce that Celie Henderson, the 4th grade teacher for the elementary school, has been promoted to a vice principal. We congratulate Celie. She'll be basically working with our pre-K through 8 program. The program will continue through the summer. We want to make sure that everybody knows that there is no lag in that program. The only days that won't be served are the right in the week of the 4th of July. So whatever that is, I think it's like, I announced it and I think Renee put it on the website, but it's like the 4th, 5th, and 6th, or the 4th, second, third, and something right there, but she'll get it up there for you. And then our summer office hours are from 9 to 2:30. We're really trying to limit staff, limit who's here, and try to get things done, but keep staff moving on and off campus safely. So we ask that we know that those are not the most convenient hours for our parents, but it is the best and safe hours for our staff. So many of us are on campus later, we're around, but we ask that if you have business at the office, if you need to see somebody, we want you to make an appointment. If you just need to drop off something, do it between those hours. If you need to do something different, you need to send an email to one of us and let us know. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Yazzie. How did I do for time? Oh, I did good. 15 minutes. All right. Here you go.
Okay. Good evening. I'm glad that you guys could all join us and be a part of this. So first, I want to thank all you parents and also students for the hard work that you did these last 9 weeks. I know it was a very sudden change to your learning, and thank you so much, parents, for the hard work that you did with your child with these packets that were distributed. So if you still have work that needs to be turned in, the final deadline is next Monday, June 1st. If you have any questions, the teachers are still open through email. They can still help your child if there's still work that your child may have, either just last minute questions or something that they may not understand. And also the grading. This is a huge thing that has, I have thought through and got feedback and met with the teachers about. And so I want to let all you parents know that our fourth quarter grade scale is going to be modified. So looking at the way that it was, looking at our method of learning, the fourth quarter, the students they weren't in the classroom with the teacher. So with that being said, it's not going to look the same. To give you an idea, the lowest grade is going to be a D-. And if there is any grade that is below that, it won't be an F. So we're not going to be failing any students. It's going to be an incomplete on the grade scale. So right now, if you log into ParentsWeb and you look at any grades posted, the current grade scale right now is still reflecting what we had for the first through third quarters. So please don't be alarmed if you see any of those grades that are low right now, because the modified grade scale is going to bring up what's in there. So I don't want to panic you guys. And then if any child does receive an incomplete grade, they're going to have the opportunity to still make up that assignment. So I just want to reassure you, that this is going to be, the fourth quarter is going to be a different grading period. And it matches our same grade scale as far as A-, A-, B+, B, and B-. And only because that will align also with our GPA scale. So also, I did get questions about textbooks and Kindles and calculators that you may still have at home. As Dot mentioned, the office hours are from 9 to 2:30. Mr. Jackson has put out a table outside with the drop boxes next to the business office. So if you have any of those larger items that need to be turned in and won't fit into the drop boxes, you can just place them on the table. So that table will be outside daily up until 2:30. So you can just leave it there. He is checking it frequently. So that way, or if it's not him, it's another staff member that will check it and make sure that those items are brought in. Also, athletic items was another question as far as parents wondering how and when are we going to turn in the athletic uniforms if your child still has one at home. We are looking at having a date in July so you guys can bring those items back to the school and get those returned. So just keep an eye out, and this is all keeping in terms of how we're planning. So just, if your child does have a uniform at home, just keep it there for now, and then we'll let you know when those items can be returned. So June testing. Because we've been out of school since about mid-March, it's very important that we do our STAR testing. And this is only because we need this data to assess where any learning gaps may have occurred since closure, but also, overall the whole school year, how your child has progressed. So we will be having STAR testing, and if you're not sure what STAR testing is, it's our online assessment where students do take it. They take it with reading and math, so that way we use that data to see where to inform the teacher's instruction, as well as where we need to address any academic or curriculum gaps within our school. So please keep an eye out from mid-June to the end of June. Again, this is tentative right now, and it could change. However, it's going to be in small groups, so we won't have any groups larger than 8, and there'll be 8 in a classroom, and there'll be a proctor with them, so we want to monitor social distancing, also wearing masks. If you are not comfortable with your child coming to campus or having to be in that setting, we will provide you a paper assessment, and it can be mailed to you, and you can mail it back to the school. So I want to make sure that we do have that available for parents who may not feel comfortable having their child come into the campus. So it will be a very planned process as far as scheduling time and the date for your child. We are looking at starting with our 12th graders, our graduating class, and then we'll be working all the way down to our kindergarten class. And then if your child is unable to make a testing time, we also have time built into that schedule, so that way you can have makeup test dates as well. So summer school. We anticipate summer school to start in August, and the schedule of the day is not ready right now. However, with the survey that we'll be sending out, that would be very informative to get your ideas on how that would look, but also get your feedback. If it's virtual, and it may be virtual and in person, but again, that's going to get your feedback as parents on what you're comfortable with as well. So if we do have it in person, it's going to anticipate, again, small groups, and then also AM and PM sessions. And then we are looking at virtual possibilities as far as having that with our summer school as well. And then also, if your student is recommended, we would take into consideration the STAR testing assessment that would be done in June, and also the 4th quarter grade, but also the overall academic progress for the 2019-2020 school year. So if your child is recommended for summer school, we will be contacting the parents to let them know. However, these are going to be in small groups. So I just wanted to stress that as well. Dot had mentioned some of the health and safety things that we are going to be instilling as the school year starts, but also even now as looking at summer school. So we will be doing temperature checks when the child arrives to school, and we are going to ask that they do wear masks when here at school. And with that, we'll also be practicing social distancing in the classrooms. As you mentioned, the class sizes are going to be reduced. We're looking 2 sections for each class. And so we are looking for vendors, especially for our younger students, so that way, the masks can be quite cumbersome, and they're little, so they're gonna want to take them off or get used to it, get to them. So we are looking at vendors where we can have a mask where they could just pull up and down and not necessarily have it wrapped around their ears all day. Definitely frequent hand washing. So we know that already. So we want them to have wash their hands, especially on arrival to school. And then I do want to stress, and we've already stressed this, especially when we were here in school, when any student was sick, that they are sick, that they do need to stay home. So that's something that is going to be on our radar all the time. And I want to let you guys know that, just especially now, going into next school year, if your child is sick, they do need to stay home. And we will also be working with the local health department as far as a protocol in place. If anyone does test positive as far as a child, teacher, or employee, working with them and how that would get communicated with you. But again, I do want to stress, if your child is sick, to please keep them home. And then I also ask that all their vaccinations are updated and complete in addition to that. So a lot to look forward to, a lot of things that are different and occurring right now, but I'm so glad. Again, thank you for all the hard work that you guys did, students especially. I know it was very different for you guys to do your packets at home, and thank you parents for all the hard work that you did helping them get their work done. And it may not be parents, it could be grandparents, aunties, uncles, whoever helped your child out. Thank you.
So 2 things that Ms. Yazzie mentioned that I want to make sure that we address. One, we are going to send a survey out. So I want you all to know that the things that we do know and the things that we're still working on, you guys are partners in your child's education. You're the most important person in your child's education. So we don't want to make all these decisions without you. So we are going to be sending a survey out. We hope that you'll participate and answer the survey and really give us some honest feedback so we have a good direction for our school. everything that everybody wants is not necessarily going to happen, and we're going to do the best we can to accommodate everything. We are thinking through this process from the time your child arrives to school to the time they leave. A couple of other things that I can tell you, I've been asked, are we going to have busing this year? I don't know yet. It's going to depend on what the guidelines are from the CDC, and we're looking at how we can accommodate that. We did put a bus schedule in the registration packet, and we are planning to try to accommodate a bus, but we're just going to have to wait and see. The other thing that I was asked is if we're going to have aftercare or morning care. We will not. We just can't be within the guidelines of the CDC and do aftercare or morning care this year, but we will make sure our teachers are at school and in their classrooms early so kids, when they arrive, can go straight to the classroom. We're really going to have a very stringent routine when kids arrive. They'll be temperature checked, they'll go straight to their classroom, they'll put their stuff down, they'll go wash their hands. So Tazbah's taking it from, the minute they get on campus to the second they get off campus, what is their day going to be like, to make sure that they are as safe as they can be. It's not just about your children's safety, it's about our staff safety, it's about your parents' safety, your grandparents' safety. It's just keeping everybody, in a good social distance and really safe. So, really participate in this survey. Know that that's our thought process. We're really trying to think about how to get back to our school day and get your children back to active learning, and how are we going to do that. And so there'll be a lot of questions on the survey that we really need you to help us and answer for us. Correct? Anything to add to that?
No, I don't.
Okay. And I can tell you all, we will still have an RN. Miss Adams is returning for our next school year. However, we're going to make her day a little bit different, and we have a big problem with parents sending their kids to school sick and just having Miss Adams check them when they get here, and that's not what she does, and I think this year is going to be extremely scary for that to be going on. So Miss Adams will be her hours will be a little bit different this next year, and she won't even be arriving until after the kids have already arrived to school and the school day has started. So we are really changing some things to help encourage parents not to do that. Another thing that she told us was, if you do that, she doesn't know what the guidelines are going to be. She may not be able to even hold your child at school until you come get them. She may have to send them straight to the hospital. So she doesn't know yet what those guidelines are going to be. So we really are going to be very strict about it. The other thing that I want you to take away from tonight that I really want you to hear is limited class size, because we have, I think we had something like 25 first graders last year. We're only going to take 20 in the third grade. That's where we have to be. And so with that, it's really going to limit our class sizes. So your child will be put on a wait list. And if the CCD, the Center for Disease, if they start spreading out those guidelines and say, okay, now we're going to move from 10 to 12 or 10 to 15, if they move those guidelines and start relaxing that because things are fine, then we'll be able to increase those class sizes and get your child, get that child off the wait list. But right now, that might not happen this school year at all. So we need to be really, really prepared for, the way that we have to run the school year this year. So I just want parents to really keep that in mind, that don't be slow in registering, and understand that your child will not be registered until you have applied for financial aid. We're going to be very strict about you applying for financial aid. And we're also going to need everybody to fill out the free and reduced lunch form this year. We cannot have any family not fill that form out. It's going to be extremely important to our continued food program, and also to understanding hot spots and how much we need to put toward these hot spots for kids and what we need to do. So any questions? Do we have some questions?
We sure do have questions. First question, will students be attending Mass? If so, what are the protocols in place?
So that's a really good question, because we've been talking about that. It's a very important part of our week and our school day. We open with prayer, we end with prayer, we have Mass during the week. We're actually planning on closing school Mass this next week coming up, and we'll get that date out to you as soon as we do. So what we thought we would do is do Mass for specific classes, maybe one or two get to actually attend Mass, we'll have a smart TV in every classroom this year. So they will be able to actually participate in mass virtually. So we'll rotate the classes that, maybe this week it's 7th grade and 5th grade that are live at mass in a good social distancing way. And everybody else is watching it on their smart TV in their classroom, and other, and so that's how we're looking at doing mass. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What day will registration and re-enrollment begin?
We had said June 1st, but Dawn, our business manager, has been out sick for the last couple of weeks, and she's recovered nicely. So those of you who sent concerns and prayers, we appreciate that, and she's doing fine. But she just returned. This was her first day back at work. So I just want to make sure that she's triple checked our registration packet and we're comfortable with ParentsWeb, comfortable with having it online. We will send you out, can we send out an emergency announcement to parents just on the ParentsWeb that it's open? So we'll let you know it's open before anybody else knows it opened as parents. And I can tell you, yes, I'm sure this question is on your mind. Are you getting a lot of inquiries about school? Yes, we are getting flooded with inquiries about school. But I can honestly tell you that we won't open registration up to the public until a good week and a half to 2 weeks have passed of registration being open for our parents. So we are going to let our parents get registered first, and then we'll open up registration if there's still room in classes.
When will the new 2021 school calendar be available?
I knew that was coming. It's ready. It's ready. And so what we're looking at right now, we have a board meeting June 6th, and usually the board looks at the calendar. The education committee is already fine with it. I'm hesitant to get it out there because of, I've been waiting for the Navajo Nation COVID to kind of flatten so we could see what was happening. I know Window Rock already said they were opening on August 12th. I don't know how they're going to do that, but okay. That's not my ship to sell, so I don't have to worry about it. But so I'm hoping that as soon as registration opens, I'll release a calendar at the same time. And then all of y'all just understand, subject to change. I'm going to put a big subject to change on it because it's what we're planning, it's what we're working off of, but it could be subject to change. And so I just want everybody to be aware. But right now that calendar has September 1st as our first day of school. I think the other thing you guys are really going to like is because we're giving our kids laptops, half days and snow days and other days, we'll be able to count them as e-learning days. So we won't have to make those days up. And so that's going to be a really cool thing for our kids, that they'll be able to participate in that and won't have to make those days up. So we'll still end that first week of June. I think our snow days carry us into like the 3rd week of June, but I think our seniors graduate the last week of May, and our school week ends, I think, the 10th of June or something like that with that late start. So we tried to cram everything in and get everybody in and out of school quickly, regardless of the late start. So we apologize, but I think that's realistic.
Why not convert to mostly, if not strictly, online classes for next school year, just to be on the safe side?
It's a good question. I'll answer part of it. I know Tazbah might want to jump into it too. I can tell you that, and did you get into that mental health workshop yet for kids?
No, it's going to be next.
So National Catholic Educators is publishing a lot of information, and we're actually participating in a mental health workshop as well. And there's a lot of information around how good is it for your child's mental health to be home constantly. And it's not just, it's really looking at children in the 5th grade right through high school on how much some interaction is important. So we may not be back to a regular school day for certain grades. We may have 2 days of school and 3 days of e-learning, and just enough to get your child out and in a social setting, in a safe social setting, but also for their mental health, but also for their safety and their physical health to focus on e-learning a little bit more. So I think you might see that it's going to be a combination of both. You want to add?
Yeah. And then to add on to what Dot is also saying, I also, with our younger grades, that interaction with their teacher and the learning that does occur in the classroom, I think is so important as well. But the social aspect, I know a lot of you students, if you're watching, I'm pretty sure you miss your classmates, you miss your teachers, and so we want to accommodate as much as we can. And I do like the idea of how we have a hybrid, but again, feedback is something that we are looking for parents as well. But again, I think it's just stressing the social aspect of them being in a regular routine and not always, being at home and being virtual, having our curriculum in that fashion.
And we've changed a lot of our curriculum this year. So you're going to see that even when your children are at school, they're going to be using their computers quite a bit. And we're really reaching out to our suppliers. You'll have a lot more consumables like workbooks and things that go along with the computer. Tazbah and Sealy have done a lot of research on consumables and that curriculum that works e-learning and live learning together. But we also know too, for some families that we need to, they need to get their kids in school because some of them are going to be back to work. A lot of our parents are frontline workers. They're hospital workers, they work for NTUA, they work for the Navajo Nation government, they work in jobs that they really need their children at school. It's really important for them. So, we're trying to have that balance. But again, this is why we're going to send out a survey, because we just want to see. And we might not be the perfect fit for everybody, and we understand that. We're just going to do the best we can.
Will the cost of attendance increase due to the limited enrollment, or will it decrease with consideration for financial hardship?
Because most of our families, and finance is my world, so I'm going to just answer this. There are only, I think, less than 20 students in our school that are not on a full scholarship to come to our school. So most of the money that comes into our school through tuition either comes in through ESA, it comes in through CEA or CTSO or ALF, or some kind of tuition assistance scholarship. And when those scholarships fell, most of the families that file for financial aid, Renee and I will meet about this week with donations and scholarships that people have given to help clean out those family balances if they applied for financial aid. So that really affects a small amount of our families as far as how much we charge or how much we don't charge, because this money is not being paid. It's being paid by outside taxpayers and by the ESA program and by all these programs. So to answer your question, tuition is set. We have to give that number to these to CEA, CTSO, all of these people. We have to give this number back in January, and we can't change that number. We can't. Once it's set for the school year. And so it will be exactly what it is. And that's why I'm going to insist that every family apply for financial aid this year, because I think that, especially with these times, most families will qualify and we will be able to get people funded, as much as we can.
How much smaller will classroom size be for K through 5 as well as high school?
So K will be.
Preschool is 12, so it would be 6 in each class. Kindergarten is.
You need to take this off so they can hear you.
Sorry. Preschool is going to be 12, so 6 in each class, and then kindergarten is going to be 16, so 8 in each class, and then 1st through 5th grade is 20, 6th and 7th grade is 30, so 15 per group, and then 8th through 12th grade 8th through 11th grade is going to be 40, so is it 40? 20 per group.
20 per group.
And then we are only accepting any senior on unextenuating circumstances, but right now our senior class is locked at what they're at.
24. They have 24.
Will registration be on a first come, first served basis?
Yes, but completed registration packets are going to play into this. It's going to be very important, because just because you got online and registered, if you didn't file for financial aid or you didn't fill out the free and reduced lunch forms as soon as they become available, it could lose your place in that class. We're going to be very serious about paperwork this year. We have to have it done. It's so important. So you're going to be registered as long as you're filling out all the paperwork and working very much with Dawn. But if you miss one of those paperwork that's not in the folder on the first day of school, your child could be bumped from that class even though you think that they're completely registered. So you need to make sure that you speak with Dawn and that you're up to date with Dawn on all the paperwork that has to be done for the school year.
What about the ESA students? Do we have to apply for financial aid as well?
No, So if you're on ESA, we consider that financial aid, so you don't have to. There's some other aid that you can get that Don will let you know you might be invited to apply for, and we would encourage it because that aid helps you if there's any extra. Sometimes ESA, a student might not apply until after the first quarter, and so their 3 quarters are paid for, but that first quarter isn't. And if they apply for financial aid, then CEA or CTSO can help take care of it. If they don't, then they can't. Okay?
Will there be parent service hours?
Not to begin with. So just to let y'all know, not until we can have service hours. We want to keep service hours in play because it's important for our parents to be part of the school. And that's something that we really want to do. But we don't want you here yet because less is more, and I'm sure you all understand that. And so we want to, so you won't be charged parent service hours, even though it's in the registration material and it talks about it, we will waive service hours just like we did for the second semester.
Are you going to have a uniform swap? If so, when?
You want to answer that, Renee? Yes, we are, and I think it might be virtual, but do you know any details, Renee?
Right now, we are looking at what would that process be as far as drop-off, sanitation, and then opening up, and how many would come into the swap, what kind of process. So it would probably be longer than 1 day. Typically, our swap is a 1-day event. Moving forward, it would probably need to be longer to accommodate all the families.
And if
so
we do something like that, August, you're thinking August.
Right. Dentist uniform, you'll also get some more information about that. They are having a safety protocol in place as well, and they will not officially open until June 1st. So we are kind of going off of what their information is, and we will send that out in the parent email.
Also, dentist uniform, I've had some people be concerned because they went to that Class Wallet and dentist uniform is announcing that they're not going to be a vendor for Class Wallet. So we're trying to figure out if we can be that middleman. In other words, if you can do the order, we can place the order through the school through our Pride store, and then we can just charge your account. So we're working with ESA right now to find out the particulars of if we can do that. And if we can, we're going to work with you every way we can to make that happen.
How is the wait list set up?
So it's really a first come, first serve. And once that class gets full, the next child in line goes on the wait list. And so, say right away, there's 20 kids that have completed paperwork in first grade. That 21st kid that applies or student that applies will be on the wait list.
If lunch is free, how will you determine who qualifies for the hotspot?
So when you fill out, even though lunch is free, you'll still be filling out a free and reduced lunch application because we have to for the first few years that we got accepted into the program. So we'll know who qualifies, because if you qualify for free lunch, you'll qualify for the hotspot.
Are you going to continue the bus route?
We're trying. We don't know yet. This honest answer, we have no idea. We're looking at what the possibilities. I mean, it literally would mean us putting somebody on the bus to do fever checks in the morning as soon as your child gets on the bus, and how many people can ride the bus and how we can keep them socially distanced. So we're looking at the possibilities and what we can do.
Will students be provided with PPE if they return?
No. We're doing masks for your students, and though I want you to know we're working with as far as hand sanitizer, we're working with a brewery or distillery in Colorado who is doing hand sanitizer for hospitals and FDA, and so they're a pretty big vendor for hand sanitizer, and we're on their list. So they have reserved hand sanitizer for our schools. So we will have hand sanitizer, tons of soap and hand washing stations and masks. But as far as any other, no.
Will all these changes be reflected in the student handbook? And when will the student handbook be available?
We're updating the handbook right now. Some of the changes will be in there. Other changes, we will just do an addendum to the handbook for this time being.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot to change the whole student handbook, so we'll just put an addendum that is dated for this specific time frame, yes. Correct?
Yes.
Is that what you're doing?
Yes, and it's an editing process.
In the event that classes will be conducted virtually, how will students in rural areas be supported if hotspots don't work?
You know, we're working with Cellular One and with Sprint and T-Mobile just merged. And so in most of our areas, it looks like the hotspots are gonna work. If they don't work, then it's gonna be the parent's responsibility to get them to a location where the hotspot would work. And even if we go to e-learning, if we have e-learning days, it doesn't mean our campus will be closed. So there will be times when if your child needs to be on campus, they're gonna be allowed on campus. We'll just practice the same safety procedures for them to be able to get their work done.
For further clarification, are you requiring financial aid if you have ESA? If not, do we notify Dawn if we have been approved for ESA?
Yes, when you fill out your application, let Dawn know that you've been approved and that's your method of funding. Dawn knows most of you all anyway, and so she knows what you're doing, and so we won't be new to her. But just make sure that she knows what your plan is, and that if we know that you're approved, ESA also gives us a list. We know who's approved, and Dawn will work through that with you. And no, you don't have to file for financial aid if you're using ESA. ESA is considered financial aid, so one of those programs.
If you're concerned about the bus route for the morning, would there be a greater effort for afternoon bus service?
In both cases, we're concerned. And yes, you know what, the good news is, especially our first quarter, we're not gonna be using our buses for athletics. So they're all gonna be here. And we like to run them because having them sit still makes no sense to us. So we are honestly looking at what are our options, even if we have to spread out buses going to different directions in the afternoon. I really see that happening. Without after school care, I think it's really gonna be important for us to run buses in the afternoon, at the very least the afternoon. So we will, you know, if we don't have bus service in the morning because of the, you know, the nightmare it's going to be to try to do that. However, we're still trying. I do think we'll have it in the afternoon. I just don't see us not being able to do that.
Do you have plans for how you will be conducting the lunch breaks, such as how many students will be sitting in the cafeteria?
We do. Tazbah is working on this right now, but I can tell you this is one of the survey questions that we want to talk to parents about, you know, as far as correct eating in classrooms and having, but we do have a plan to have limited, more lunch periods, if you will. And staggered times, and the kids will be very spread out in the lunchroom, and then how they actually even receive their lunches.
Our classroom delivery as well. So we're looking at all the different, and that's what I'm working on as well, in addition to how the next school year is gonna be looking at, but you know, lunchtime is something that it's on top of my list, honestly.
It's a huge deal. And right now we're looking at breakfast being in the classroom. The great news is for the past couple of months, Melissa has gotten this to-go thing down to an art. And so she knows how to do to-go meals now. And so that's great news for our kids because she's really, I think those of you who have been picking up meals, you know, she's really working hard. Her staff is working really, really hard. And I think they, you know, so they feel confident that we're going to be able to get into the school year and do this safely.
What resources will be provided to students to accommodate the hybrid e-learning, and what will it be for all students?
So grades 3 through 12 will get a laptop, and they will get a case for that laptop, and they will get a hotspot if they qualify for free lunch and need a hotspot. You know, it's really important that the hotspot is only for the student to do e-learning. It's not for any other purpose. So if a family has internet and doesn't need the hotspot, then they just need to let us know, and that'll be on the survey. If they need a hotspot, they need to let us know. And then for the younger kids, we really are right now, and we'll look at the survey, but we really are planning with our pre-K through second graders. They learn best at school. And so we're really planning on their small groups and keeping them in school as much as we can because this is a good place for them to be.
So current students will have to re-enroll. Clarify, please.
Yes.
Yes.
They do every year. I mean, we always have an enrollment, so that's a standard at our school. So yes, they will have to re-enroll.
Our question is that students that will be moving into the 11th grade this fall, they will be guaranteed a spot, or will they have to fight for a spot?
No, they should be fine.
The 11th grade?
Yeah, the 11th
the
grade.
sophomores. Yeah, because they are under.
Yeah.
Sorry. The 11th grade, the 10th grade class, they're under 40 right now.
So we don't have any class, you know, we're worried about some of the elementary classes because we have to keep those numbers so low. But our high school classes, we looked at the number, and that's when we set it at 40, was because that we shouldn't have any student that's here right now in grades 6 through 12 should be able to return without any problem. And most of the elementary classes should be fine if parents get right on and register. But there will be a couple of classes that were a little bit heavy that might, you know, we may have a couple kids on a wait list in those classes. And then I just want to let you all know, we're going to open this up for parents first and get you to, you know, get online and get registered. But after you all do, if you haven't decided or you don't know if you're going to come or what happens, you're going to have to, we're going to have to open up registration eventually because the school budget is based on that enrollment. This is how we pay our teachers. And so we have to fill the enrollment. So if we see you know, it's not getting filled, we'll leave it open for our parents only for the first 2 weeks, and then we'll open it up to the public. And I can tell you all right now, we are getting, Renee is shaking her head yes and smiling, we are getting slammed with inquiries on availability at our school. I think just like you guys are hesitant to have your children come back to school, at least your kids are coming to a private school that we care very much about what's going to happen with them in their school day. And we can accommodate a lot of the standards that the Center for Disease Control wants us to accommodate. We can get that done pretty efficiently. And, you know, I think parents are really worried about the school maybe that their child is in now, whether they want them to still be at that school, if it's a public school or a bigger private school. So we're getting slammed. But I can tell you guys, we're not going to change our minds. We are going to leave our numbers low and tight because we want to accommodate your child in a safe way. It's just super important for us to do that.
What are the plans for extracurricular activities for middle school and high school?
Right now, virtual. Everything, you know, our teachers are really looking at some creative ways, like Miss Adams just talked about doing her safe sitter and some labs virtual. And then also some of our teachers are talking about small groups and being able to come in and working with these small groups in a virtual, not only in a virtual way, but a small group way. So they're looking at ideas and starting to discuss ideas, and I think we'll get information out, but also on the survey, we want feedback from parents on what they're hoping for and what they're expecting.
Will the high school class schedule, 7 per day, remain the same?
No, that's gonna, so that's what we're working on right now, is looking at the schedule, especially for our middle school, high school, and not just them, but all our grades and how that's gonna look out as far as timing, teachers, class sizes, and subjects, and so it's a whole revamp. We had our schedule ready and set to go, but you know, through this process, we're learning that there's going to be changes that are going to occur.
Really, you all have to think about the learning groups. You know, pre-K through 12 is one learning group, 3 through 5 is another learning group, 6, 7, and 8th grade that needs a lot of reach back to middle school is a different learning group. 8, 9, and 10 will be another learning group, and then 11 and 12. And I think you guys are going to see a lot of exciting things with our juniors and seniors. We're partnering with Xavier University. We're going to have a lot of interesting classes for them to do, and a lot of labs. We're really looking at their learning plans, their individual plans, where they're at right now. And we'll be meeting with you all virtually and emailing you possibilities and ideas for their schedule for this year. So they'll be kind of like 1 foot in high school and 1 foot in college, and 1 foot in e-learning and 1 foot in live labs and virtual things. And so it'll be really an interesting year, I think, for all of our students, because we're really doing some exciting things on campus. Right?
Yes.
When will the free and reduced lunch forms be included in the registration packets?
We don't know because we haven't got them yet, and the state of Arizona does that. So what we'll do is as soon as we get them, we'll email them to everybody that's registered. And so if they're not in the registration packet, the people that have filled out registration packets will get them right away, and then we'll put them on our website like we have. But we'll get them out to people who are registered first. Remember something. once you register, you're registered. Even if you're holding on a form like a free and reduced lunch form, and we know you can't get it, you're not going to lose your place in line because you didn't get that form yet when we know it's not out. You're gonna lose your place in line if you never filled out that form and you keep on not filling out that form, because we have people that just do that. They just don't fill stuff out. And so it's gonna be important as soon as it gets emailed to you that you get it filled out and back to us.
Would it be possible to extend the Xavier partnership for freshmen and sophomores?
Yes, and we're gonna look at those, without going into too much, because I know there's a lot of questions and there's not a lot of time. Without going into too much detail, I just wanna tell you that we have, we separated the academic counseling. So Ms. Begay is going to be working with 8th, 9th, and 10th grade. Mr. Carrier is going to be working with the juniors and seniors. And we are writing, and we're really going to reach down to 6th and 7th grade and really write detailed individual learning plans for each one of our students. And with that, we may reach to you and say, hey, we have a freshman who should be in this biology class or this advanced physics class or something else, because that's where their interest lies and this is where there is. If that class is open, not only at Xavier, but also at Navajo Tech University or one of the other schools that we're looking at partnering with Danae, any of the schools, then we may recommend that for them. So we'll let you guys know as we get that more cemented. But again, survey is going to be super important because we want to know how interested you are.
Is First Things First scholarship still an option?
Yes.
Is there going to be 2 teachers for each classroom of the divided classrooms?
Yes. Yeah, each teacher will have, there'll be a lead teacher. So let's say first grade. Miss Billy would still be the lead teacher for the first grade, but she would have a co-teacher in that class. She'll write the lesson plans and plan the curriculum, and the co-teacher would be working with the other group of kids. But it's really important that experienced teacher does the lesson planning and guides the learning, correct?
Yes.
Did I say that right? I'm sorry, I jumped in.
Yeah, that's correct. And so we'll have a lead teacher and we'll have 2 co-teachers working together. Like Dot said, the lead teacher will be doing the lesson planning, and then they'll be working very closely so that way their lessons reflect for both groups.
And there are no more questions at this time.
Yay, so I'm gonna close. I know that y'all are probably gonna think, well, I should have asked this or I should have asked that, and I want you all to know that we want your questions, so feel free to email either one of us at any time or both of us, and we'll do our best to respond. And if we get a lot of questions like that, we'll send out something in a parent email answering those questions, okay? I found something on social media that I thought was particularly interesting, and I'm going to close with this because I thought this was really poignant for our time. As our leaders begin to plan for what school will look like in the near future for them, please. If school starts normally, people will be angry. If school starts with restrictions, people will be angry. If we wear masks, people will be angry. If we don't wear masks, people will be angry. If student sports are canceled, people will be angry. If student sports are allowed to continue without spectators, people will be angry. If we have a staggered start time, continued distant learning, or combination of both, people will be angry. Our leaders are in a lose-lose situation right now. The choices they make over the next few weeks or weeks and months, are completely uncharted territory for them. They are doing their best. They are doing the best they can with the things that they are being told. Pray for them. Please pray for us. Show them grace, have empathy, and stay positive. That cannot be more true.
Yes.
Every decision we make, we think the weight of making the right decision is on us. And so we ask for you to just stay with us and pray with us and be open. And we want your feedback. Nothing is a done deal. We want you all to know that nothing is a done deal. When I say things that we know, these are just the things we know, things that we're still thinking about and working on. They might feed into the things that we know, because we're all partners in these children. We want these children to have the best educational experience. We want them to come out of this as successful young people. And so it's gonna be a lot, and we know it's a lot. Tazbah and I often laugh, we're swimming in a lake and we have no idea where we're going or what's happening, but we're doing our best. And y'all, if you see the publicity and you see the headlines and the stories that they're writing about the school, and you hear from our donors, and you hear from parents, and you hear from our alumni and other students, they would tell you, we're working hard. Our teachers are working so hard. Our staff is working so hard. We're all working really hard. And so we just appreciate that. And so with that, I'm going to close with prayer. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Loving God, your desire is for our wholeness and our well-being. We hold in tenderness and prayer the collective suffering of our world at this time. We grieve precious lives lost and vulnerable lives threatened. We ache for ourselves and our neighbors standing before the uncertain future. We pray, may love, not fear, go viral. Inspire our leaders to discern and choose wisely, aligned with the common good. Help us to practice social distancing and reveal to us new and creative ways to come together in spirit and solidarity. Call to us profound trust in your faithful presence, you, the God who does not abandon. St. Catherine Drexel,
Pray for us.
St. Michael, the Archangel,
Pray for us.
St. Francis of Assisi,
Pray for us.
Saint, and I always say her name wrong, Thank
Kathy.
you, Catherine. I cannot pronounce her name. It's the thing for me, but pray for us.
Pray for us.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you all for tuning in, and please keep us in prayer and keep communicating. We'll see you all soon. Thank you.
Bye.